In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to animate moving lasers in After Effects. As you're watching this, try to think of any comments, things you think I could do better, things you want me to try, and of course, like and subscribe. There are any number of ways to do this effect, but this is by far the most time-efficient way that I've ever found. Now for this example, I am using a 3D animation that I made myself, but the instructions that I'm going to give you here will apply to pretty much anybody. Now my biggest recommendation here is you'll notice that this is one video, but the two images don't really cross until you get to about there. So first thing I'm going to do is use my pen tool. And I'm going to animate this mask so that I can duplicate them and have them on different layers. Just click on here, push M, click on this little stopwatch. Alright, now that I've got my mask done, click on here, go Control D. Now on this guy right here, bring these 2 points down, and I go to my next path and then just do all the necessary corrections there. So now I have both images nicely synced up. And now the next step here, partly because this looks really boring, is to add a chroma key or green screen effect. Go to Keying, Key Light, pick a color. Same thing here. And also, nice thing about After Effects, the last effect you used is right here. That's just a general time saver, if possible, if applicable, I should say. And some nice stars. Just going to bring my visibility up on this guy. And this is another reason I like using multiple layers on scenes like this. So I can make the Enterprise just look a little bit brighter. There we go. This guy's colored down. There we go. So now for the lasers. Come up to my lightsaber. Bring it into the shot. Take my pen tool. Green screen it. Now the mantra you want to keep saying to yourself over and over and over again for this is, where is the laser coming from? How's it going to get there? What's it going to do as it gets there? And where is it going? That is it. If you kind of remember those four things, you can do this effect. So this laser, click on it, and come up to this little box thing. That's your anchor point tool. Click on it. Find this little symbol right here, and then bring that down to where the you want things to bend from. And the reason you do that is if you push R, now it's actually bending from this point. Normally these have an anchor point almost dead center in the photo, but because I want my light source to come from here, I want it to be down at the base. Now, bring this to a 0. And also, it's extremely important to have something happen when your laser hits a target. I was able to animate that to about right there. So this comes to right here and bring it to this frame. Have this laser be, let's see, under the Enterprise. And now you see it's coming from the Enterprise, but I want it to be over this layer. So this top layer with the Star Destroyer is now over it. Then bring it. Click on this little center square. Now it's functionally ready to fire. Now the two things you're going to focus on for this effect is your scale right here, which is going to go do that, but not exactly that. Undo it. And your, let's see, position and your rotation. So what I recommend you do, the first thing is to make sure this point stays on the same spot on my little Enterprise here. I want it to come to about right there. I'm actually going to try to keep this symbol right here on the blue dot right there. Push the little stopwatch right here. And now I'm going to try to complete the shot until these black marks stop. So it's going to be from there to there. Now, unfortunately, if it were only that easy. And you may have to go one frame at a time. You might get lucky and be able to skip a few. But more or less, this is a one frame at a time type deal. And I'll do a time lapse just to save you guys time. So now that blue light is actually following it pretty good. Start back on my first anchor point with a position. Click on scale and rotation. Have it rotate. And you're going to have to do this scale part manually. You can't do it in numbers because these numbers here will affect all of the scale. I just want it to get shorter. Then go to this next anchor point right here. I'm matching my position anchor points. And just keep this laser in the center of the damage. Now would be a great time for a time lapse. Looks like it's following it pretty good. Now I actually need to backtrack to, I'm actually going to say, about there. And then I'm just going to bring my scale. So instead of it just having it come from nowhere, it actually extends. And then when that's done, bring it to whatever feels right, I should say. Okay, so now that I've got the approach, where did it, I have to retract the laser back into the ship. And that looks like the bulk of my initial effect. That's actually the primary effect. Looks like it's pretty well done. There is actually something I'd like to add. Notice see how it kind of, it doesn't actually look too bad in this example, but I like to have something in front of it right here. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to Control D. I'm going to bring this layer of the Star Destroyer. I'm actually going to bring it on top, and I'm going to cover this part of the laser. Take it, come to its obsolete Luma key, opacity. There we go. Now it's this debris area right here is actually going to be partially covering the laser and obscuring any kind of right angles or mistakes I may have made. This gives a little bit more layers. And of course, there's one major problem. I know we're all thinking about it. The Enterprise does not have blue phasers. So come up to Effects, Color Correction, change to color. And the default goes to red, which I'm actually going to stick with that color. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go with red. And it is done. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Again, if you want to help me out, please subscribe.